Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Virtual Encounters. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. We have a very interesting and special guest today, one who has inspired many to take up cue sports in India. He has won almost everything, be it national championships, Asian championships, or the world titles. He recently won his 24th title in Doha. By far the biggest name in India in cue sports, Golden Boy of India, Prince of India, Mr. Pankaj Advani is with us. Pankaj, welcome to DD India. First of all, how have you been doing? And 24 titles in total. You seriously want to outnumber your age with your titles?
First of all, thank you for having me on your show. At the start of my career, I never imagined that I would win so much and excel in two different sports, billiards and snooker. And that's something that hasn't been done before. So I'm just very grateful for the fact that I have the opportunity to represent my country. I started off playing at a very early age. I found my talent, my passion at the age of 10. And I have a lovely team behind me, lovely family support. So it all works out at the end.
Right. But you recently won the 24th title in Doha. Was this a title all the more special for you? Uh, because tournaments were not happening because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we all know. And I want to know from you, did the break make you more hungry? And the World Cup also happened after 2 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, Abhishek, the last international tournament was played towards the end of 2019. And when the first lockdown was enforced, we thought, okay, this will take 2, 3 months and then we'll get rid of COVID. Little did we know that this is going to last for a long time and we'll just have to live with this thing for a long time and get vaccinated. Travel would become a lot tougher after that. We never knew when our next tournament would be, especially after the second lockdown, because the second wave was even more severe.
Yeah.
So, given all those factors, I feel like for a few months, I think our priorities were not even our careers. We were thinking mainly to survive, mainly to help out each other, to take precautions so that the person near us is not affected in case we have the infection. In fact, I got COVID myself in December 2020. So, and I know, that it can take a toll on your body. But look, I mean, with the fact that we had international tournaments in September earlier this year, after such a long gap, I said, you know what, let me make the most of it. I mean, we don't know again when the next tournament would be, if there's another third wave. And I just had 1 month to prepare. And, that was probably the most underprepared I've ever been for a championship, just playing for 1 month. And because of the start and stop kind of arrangement we've had, over the last 1.5 years, it hasn't been easy on athletes, on any athlete. Because even if you're not playing tournaments, you want to train regularly, you want to experience that joy of doing something that you love doing every day, just like I have for Q Sports. So it's been a very difficult journey, and I'm just so glad that I've come back stronger. Although I would say that the quality of game has definitely suffered because of the numerous breaks we've been forced to take.
But your practice also took a big hit, or you were practicing regularly? Because your performance in Doha suggested that you were never out of practice.
Well, honestly, I think I won. I mean, I don't want to, belittle my opponents or my competition, but I don't think I played my best. And I don't think anybody in that tournament played their best, especially in the Asian Championships and the World Cup, which happened back to back in Doha. I just relied on my experience and realized that, okay, fine, if you have to win on your B game and go with plan B, so be it. Because in sports persons' careers, you'll never be at your best every single day. You'll never be in the zone all the time. So you've got to adjust your game plan, play according to the situation, sometimes a little more defensive, sometimes a little more tactical, and then wait for the right opportunities. And I think I just relied on my temperament, my vast experience over the last 2 decades to see myself through and obviously win for India.
You said that you were not at your A game, but still you won. So does it make all the more special for you? And also, this must have been a very different experience for you. You got to stay in the bubble. That's a new word which is trending, which is bio bubble. How difficult was it to deal with it? Does it put extra pressure because mentally, I think you need to be very strong. There are certain set of people that you can meet. You cannot move freely, and you got to wear face mask all the time. Share your experience.
To be honest, the fact that we had an opportunity to play after so long, at least for me, I was extremely grateful. And every morning I would wake up in the hotel over there. I would just say, you know what, thank God we're back to normal days, at least for now. And that we have the opportunity to represent our country and try and win medals for it. With something which hasn't happened over the last 2 years. Yes, there have been a lot of challenges and difficulties when it comes to travel. You know, you've got so many documents to produce now. You've got to do your RT-PCR test. You've got to get your 2 vaccination certificate, so on and so forth. You know, exemption certificates in that particular country. And Qatar is a little strict when it comes to travel. So all of that had to be put in place. And of course, the fact that we were in a bubble in the hotel. Of course, we were allowed to go out a couple of times, but at the end of the day, I'm there for a mission. My mission is to play, to enjoy the game, to represent my country, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, they did provide us with a lovely facility over there. There were good practice facilities. There was a lot to do in the property itself. So it was a different experience. And as I said, that if you learn to embrace what's put in front of you, it's much easier rather than resisting and say, you know, why this had to happen and why COVID and why this bubble. For me, when I go for a tournament, my main priority is to just perform and to enjoy the game, to ensure that there are good conditions and adapt to those conditions. Everything else comes after that.
Looking at half glass full, and as long as you are getting to play, everything is acceptable. That's coming out from a sports person, a positive sports person. But Pankaj, you know, COVID has taught us a lot of things. Like you also mentioned that we need to prioritize our health. Also, mental health is also very, very important. I mean, do you prioritize your fitness also? Because your game doesn't demand the physical fitness, but again, what's your focus on the fitness? I mean, how do you keep yourself fit?
I feel all these aspects are related. You know, a sound mind, you know, enables a sound body. But also, if you're physically aware and active and fit, then it definitely adds to your concentration. And ours is a game of concentration and precision and skill. So to add to those skills and to enhance the focus, physical fitness is actually very crucial for us. A lot of people feel that, you know what, okay, just stand, bend, hit the ball, and the ball disappears into the pocket. But it's not as easy or simple as that. There's a lot of core involved. You know, your upper body, especially your back, your upper back and lower back, because you're constantly bending in one position, getting up, bending, getting up. You're walking around the table. When you're playing a shot, you're absolutely still. So, you know, your legs are firmly placed and no part of your body can move except your arm. So that's something that I've really concentrated on in the last 2 to 3 years. Of course, during the lockdown, I think it was the same for everybody. Probably the only form of exercise was doing something on the mat at home or just going for a walk in your, you know, in your building or surroundings. But that's about it. But now that the lockdown, you know, has been eased and we've come back to some sort of normalcy, that's an aspect that I've been working on to of course, not build muscles because that's not the requirement of our sport, but to work on aspects like core, flexibility, stability, to ensure that my focus is even better, you know, with the physical aspect.
You also cooked some food in the lockdown, first lockdown?
Cooking and me don't get along.
But you can't say that you recently got married.
So I leave that to my wife and the women in the house. But I did do a little bit of jharu pocha at home during the lockdown.
You did?
I didn't have domestic help. You know, you learn some of the new things. And the good part of the lockdown, of course, it was, you know, all very negative at one point. But if you look at the bright side, for people like us who travel so much around the globe and are constantly on the move, living out of a suitcase, I got to spend quality time with my family and my loved ones. So I think, you know, because we were so caught up in the rat race and constantly chasing, you know, career, money, name, fame, you tend to forget the very simple things of life and the real priorities. And I think that's what really COVID has taught us, to look at our true priorities.
Right. I was talking to some of the cricketers also, and they were also saying that they hardly get time to stay at home. And I mean, they took that period positively. I mean, that's the other way of looking at it. They stay 2-3 months at home and they spend a lot of time with their families. Pankaj, we have achieved almost everything, be it world titles, national championships, Asian titles. Unarguably, you are the best player in snooker and billiards, best player in the world. But what is that one thing that you aspire for and expect from this sport? Maybe Pankaj Advani winning an Olympic medal for India and that flag going high up.
Uh, I would actually say that I expect people to embrace our sport a little more, to accept it as a mainstream sport. I understand that there are certain misconceptions surrounding our sport, in the sense that, oh, some people think it's a sport for the elite, or some people feel like it's just played recreationally. But here is a sport that has given India many, many world titles, and not just through me, through my predecessors, whether it's Geet Sethi, Michael Ferreira, pioneers in snooker like Yasin Merchant. Uh, we have a huge history and legacy, and I just wish that people appreciate it a little more, embrace our sport, and obviously it's the job of our federation to ensure that our sport is on television. So my expectation from the game is, to actually get it televised and to educate the people and make them understand that, what, India-Pakistan doesn't happen only in cricket. It happens in other sports, because my latest world title was against a Pakistani player in the final, which I won, very narrow margin. So in fact, a lot of my friends were saying that, even in snooker, India-Pakistan snooker matches can get very interesting because it went down to the wire.
Have you been giving back to the sport in the sense that have you been educating people, the young ones, the young kids who aspire to be cueist?
Yes, I mean, now social media is such a strong platform.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm also, certain projects are in the pipeline where there are going to be videos, released of me playing and explaining, and technique and the basics and all of that. And I would love to travel even across the country to just do small coaching clinics, to just try and inspire youngsters to play, because I know there is so much of interest and there's no dearth of talent in our country, to be honest. And here is a sport, in fact, which was invented in India by the Britishers, but in 1875. I feel like if it's a sport that's close to us, we should, it's our responsibility to take it forward, and not just the players, but even the governing bodies, to ensure even some kind of franchise-based league happens, like how Kabaddi is taken off, and of course IPL has always been there. So I think these are the plans that need to be executed over the next 2-3 years for our sport to reach the next level.
But now, Pankaj, how has this sport changed over the years? You have been here for the last 25, 26 years. What changes have you observed in this sport around you since when first you start winning titles, nationals and world titles and the Asian championships?
Earlier there were no job opportunities, in the sense that players were playing, and of course the government has been supportive, the central government, and has so many sports federations to take care of. So we understand the challenges that it faces. But with the PSUs coming in, organizations recruiting sports persons across all disciplines and including ours, things have become a lot better in that sense, that people have job security, that they know that, okay, they can play for 15, 20 years and they won't lose their job as long as they're performing at a decent level. In terms of the tournament, I just feel like that there's more that can be done, because we've had a lot of tournaments earlier in the past on television. I feel like getting it back on television should be our main focus right now. That somehow has been lacking. But in terms of the opportunities for youngsters, I think they can make a career out of the game. And it's not a very expensive sport. The only thing is that you need to gain access to the facilities. Now that becomes a little challenging, because you can't go to the street and play this game. You need to enroll in a club. And even many clubs now are giving sports memberships just based on that one talent that you have. So you don't have to use the other facilities. And you can just go and use, say, the billiards room, for example, if you're a billiards player. So I think there has been a change in terms of awareness. The social media revolution, a few years ago, has made people more aware of the champions that we have in the game. They understand the game a little better. But as I said, that if it comes on television, if we have a league format, I think it'll do wonders for the sport.
Right, Pankaj, you are saying it's not an expensive sport, but people say that it's a rich man's sport. A big misconception, you think?
Big misconception.
Okay.
All of us, most of us who've achieved in this game, who've come from middle class, humble backgrounds,
Hmm.
had to only invest in a cue, the stick that which we play the game with.
Okay.
Apart from that, there is not too much investment. I feel like sports like tennis, badminton are way more expensive
Okay.
than ours. And yes, I understand that we need to go to clubs or to proper academies to play this game because the tables are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But as I said, that you get sports memberships, specialized sports memberships now, talent category memberships. I only feel that yes, it's still a very urban sport, and I feel like the tier 2 cities and the remote areas, we can do a lot more with that. I think the state, the bodies, the federations, the governing bodies can do a lot more in terms of increasing the access to facilities. But there is no dearth of talent in our country because the national championships every year attracts over 1,000 participants. The qualifying rounds, the main draw, the men, women, juniors, boys and girls. So we have that kind of interest and the numbers are there. It's all a matter of now nurturing them, giving them the opportunities to perform, and we'll have more champions in the future.
Hopefully. But how it started for you, Pankaj? I want to go a little bit back. In a country which is cricket crazy, Olympic sport has also started getting recognition. But choosing this sport and that too professionally, share the story and also the journey with us. I think your elder brother introduced you to this sport.
I'm a firm believer in destiny. When I started my schooling days in Bangalore, because we were in Kuwait for the first 5 years of my life, and then we shifted to India. I was exposed to the usual sports, badminton, TT, cricket, basketball, some of the outdoor sports. And I used to follow my elder brother very curiously to the snooker club, which was just 2 minutes from our house. And I said, I want to know what this game is about because it was different. For 3 weeks, I was not allowed to play. I just observed how the technique was formed, the stance, the cueing, everything, the action. And I said, okay, now I'm going to try my hand. And the first shot that I ever took on the table, the ball disappeared into the pocket. So that was how my journey began in the world of cue sport. But I just feel that it's all destiny because, we chose the house in Bangalore. It was just 2 minutes from the snooker club. My practice place, the Karnataka State Billiards Association, is just 10 minutes from my house. I found my coach, who till today has not charged me a single penny for training him. My brother's a sports psychologist. My mom supported me so much. I just feel that destiny had a huge part to play in my journey as a cueist. And had I not been in Bangalore, probably I would have never picked up this game. So it's been an amazing journey. And the joy that I got while playing this game, I never experienced that while playing cricket or badminton or any other of the physical sports. This feeling was very, very different. And that's when I knew that I wanted to do something with this hobby and make it a profession.
Right, and the rest is history. And people, they call you Messi of this sport.
I just heard that recently when I went to Doha. So that gave me a huge boost in confidence to be there.
Right, Pankaj, share with us your best moments in your career which have elated you the most.
Well, my first world title for sure in 2003 because I wasn't given even 1% chance to win it in China against some of the top Chinese players, many UK or European players who were way more experienced than me. To go out there and to win that title, there were 10 round robin matches. I don't want to compare this to cricket, but there were a lot more countries playing in that championship, a lot more competition, more than 12 countries, probably 3 times more than that. And to go through those round robin matches, I in fact lost a couple of them. I qualified as number 3 in the group out of 4 people that were through from the round robin stages. I was down in most of my knockout games. Somehow managed to come back every time and ended up winning the title against a Pakistani player, which was on Diwali, October 25th, 2003. So that is one of my biggest highlights of my career. Besides, of course, the Asian Games medals. I'm sure you've covered many Asian Games achievements of Indian athletes. To see the national flag go up in 2006 and 2010 back to back. For me to defend the Asian Games English billiards title was also a very, very big moment in my career. And I would obviously talk about my latest wins because, as you said, that coming after a long gap meant even more to me. I'd forgotten how it feels to play the game. I'd forgotten how it felt to win a tournament because it had been that long. And to put India on top after such a long gap just gives me so much of happiness and excitement. And I feel like doing it again. And again.
Great to see your enthusiasm, Pankaj. Also, Pankaj, 2-3 questions before we wind it up here. Do you change your approach when you move to billiards from snooker?
If anybody asks me what is your biggest achievement in Q Sports, I would tell them very simply that the fact that I've been able to excel in both billiards and snooker with similar kind of flair. And of course, I have more titles in billiards, but the fact that I've been able to juggle both of them, I think for me, in my mind, that makes it even more special and unique. I remember after I won my first title in 2003 in snooker, I told my coach, I said, I want to now start doing well in billiards. And he was laughing at me. He says, no chance. Most of the senior players also said that it's impossible. And I wanted to do the impossible because I believed that it was humanly possible to excel in two different sports and to play billiards and snooker and juggle between them because the techniques are contrasting in nature, the scoring patterns, the approach. And coming to the approach, you have to change your approach when you switch from one sport to the other. And that is why 99.999% of the cueists only specialize in one sport, either billiards or snooker. So yeah, it is challenging. There are times I've lost out on matches because of switching so much. But I think now I'm in a good space in my life, in my career, where I know what I need to do exactly before a tournament.
Okay.
And not
clear-headed. Yeah. And also, Pankaj, I'm talking about overall sports here in India. How has sports evolved over the years when you have been here for more than 2 decades? Can we still, or is it too early to ask you, can we call India a sporting nation? Or, apart from cricket also, other sports are also getting the recognition. I'm talking about the Olympic sport. Does it feel very, very good? Our Prime Minister also, our government also, they have been backing, motivating the athletes?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that we are a sporting nation, but we are getting there. I think the progress is gradual, but it's evident.
Okay.
Because of the fact that we have world beaters across different sports. And I'm not just talking about the Olympics. I know my views on Olympics are very different from the rest of the people in India. Because I feel like sporting greatness and sporting consistency is about performing well regularly and consistently in your annual championships, not once in 4 years.
True.
While the Olympics is mega, it's a mega event, and the Asian Games, I've been there myself, so I know. I do feel that consistent performances every year, every championship is what sets a great sports person apart from a normal athlete. But it's great to see the recognition being given to every other sport in our country. Yes, the awareness has increased, and the government also has taken cognizance of the fact that we have multiple world beaters across different sports, which wasn't the case 20 years ago.
Right, Pankaj, last question before we wrap up. What advice do you want to give to the youngsters, to the young kids who aspire to be professional sports person, but they don't know where to start from?
I would say go down to the very basics, in the sense that if a sport appeals to you, if you're really passionate about it, if you find joy in excelling in that sport, then take it up.
Okay.
I think maybe a lot of parents feel that, chalo, if there's more money in cricket, let's just put our child in cricket and forget about the rest. But maybe the child is not even inclined or not even talented and doesn't have that gift. Yeah. I got scared of the leather ball when I was playing in school. I used to play very well with the tennis ball. But I knew that, this is not meant for me. Maybe I need to find something else where I genuinely find joy and I'm not scared and I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So the very basics is to get down to finding something that you find, you experience true joy and not doing it for the name, fame, or the rewards. But to start off, yes, now with technology opening up, honestly, Abhishek, there are so many avenues. People have access to so much of information, which wasn't the case earlier. And I also believe that, this is for all the parents out there, that when I started off playing the game, I managed my time between academics and the sport.
Okay.
And in fact, my mother told me to make a promise to her, saying that never ever let your grades suffer, because basic education is a must. I think that basic education has now helped me also become a reasonably good ambassador of the country when I represent India in various championships, because I can talk to people, I can talk to them about different subjects, I can represent my country in a dignified way, rather than behaving all brash and uh, you know uncouth, or not putting my country in good light. So I think basic education is very important. You will invariably find the time, either early in the morning or after your school hours. So it's all about how much you want it. I wanted it really badly. That's why I made those sacrifices.
Obviously, if you have the passion, you'll definitely find it. Go down to the basics. There is no shortcut, and hard work is very, very important. And basic education, like Pankaj Advani mentioned, is very, very important. Thank you, Pankaj Advani. Thank you for giving us your precious time. You were superb with your answers. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Abhishek. Thank you.